Here is the test review for AP United States History 2. It will cover the early presidency of John F. Kennedy. The test will be Monday, November 20th, so please meet in the Commons at that time. The first questions on the test will be 20 matching questions, so here is what you need to know. Who served as Secretary of State under President Kennedy? Who was the first human being to orbit the Earth? Who was the Mercury 7 astronaut that flew into space for 2 days, May 15th and 16th of 1963? Who was the military general appointed U.S. Joint Chief of Staff in 1962? Who was the communist leader of Cuba during the Cold War? Who was the Negro whose admission to the University of Mississippi caused rioting on campus? Who was the player that scored 100 points in an NBA game for the Philadelphia Warriors against the New York Knicks? Who was the CIA director fired by President Kennedy after the Bay of Pigs disaster? Who was the Soviet premier during the Cold War who saw Berlin as a malignant tumor? Who was the person shot in the back trying to flee over the Berlin Wall in August of 1962? Who served as Secretary of Defense under President Kennedy? Who commanded Sigma 7, and he earned money as a spokesman for ActiFed when he returned to Earth? Who served as Secretary of the Treasury under President Kennedy? Who was the first American to orbit the Earth? Who was the Mercury 7 astronaut that landed in the Pacific Ocean some 200 miles off target after his mission? Who was the press secretary during the Kennedy administration? Who was the only member of the Mercury 7 astronauts that did not command a Mercury flight? What man was responsible for the Peace Corps under President Kennedy? Which Mercury astronaut commanded Liberty Bell 7, which sank after splashing down in the Pacific Ocean? He was also killed on the launch pad of Apollo 1. And who said the famous prayer just before takeoff in Freedom 7? Those are your multiple choice questions. The rest of these will be short answer questions. Here's the first one. During the Bay of Pigs affair, Cuban exiles were being trained by the CIA for an invasion of Cuba. What were the 3 objectives for this mission? The next short answer question is, what was to be the American involvement in the Bay of Pigs invasion? 3 things. The next question are, what were the 3 reasons the Bay of Pigs turned into a disaster? The next question, what 2 steps did President Kennedy take to make up for the Bay of Pigs disaster? Your next question, other than pressure he received from his father, give 2 reasons why President Kennedy chose his brother Bobby as Attorney General despite his lack of experience. Your next question, please list 4 goals for the new frontier. Next question, other than diffusing the crisis between the Western Allies and the Soviet Union, list 2 other reasons that President Kennedy did not intervene with the construction of the Berlin Wall. And your next question, please explain why President Kennedy grounded John Glenn Jr. from further space flights after his successful Mercury mission. Be able to give 1 example showing that President Kennedy was at the height of his popularity in April of 1962. The next question is, what was the profession of Robert McNamara prior to his appointment in the Kennedy cabinet? Your next question, concerning the space race, what bold prediction did President Kennedy make back in 1961? Your next question, who is the senior member of the Mercury 7 astronauts? And your final question on the test is, what African-American woman was most instrumental in providing mathematical information leading to the success of Friendship 7? There are 45 answers on this test. They'll be worth 3 points apiece. The test will be worth 135 points. And again, it will be on Monday, November 20th. Please report to the Commons. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a text. Good luck.